following points also apply to our Commonwealth here in Australia.
The Founding Fathers made it very clear what they were doing in the United States, and it was the creation of Western civilization for Western kind. If they wanted to give it to the world, if they wanted to give it to everybody, they would have written that in to the Constitution. They would have written that into the founding documents. But no, in fact, they restricted citizenship to free white people of good character. The Founding Fathers were thinking melting pot at all. It was of white ethnicities. And that's what happened here in the United States. Every white ethnicity that came in was able to very easily adopt the biospirit that was manifested in the United States because it was their biospirit. Who has a problem with it? Everyone else. Either you have the biospirit of a people or you don't. That is the reality.
I was arrested by the corrupt anti-white Australian government, who is actually acting unconstitutionally for simply pointing out and making it apparent that according to the Australian Constitution, the Australian government, the Australian Parliament doesn't have power to create laws to end the White Australia policy, essentially. According to the Australian Constitution, mass non-white immigration into Australia isn't legal. And I also pointed out that according to UN international law, it's actually classified, mass non-white immigration into a Western nation like Australia, actually classified under international law as a form of genocide, legally. This can be understood because it comes under the clauses of reducing numbers of births of the native population via competition for resources, etc., bringing in another ethnic population, which then outcompetes, takes the resources, and then the original native population, in this case white Australians and Aboriginals, dwindle, they lose power to the point that they're persecuted in their own homelands, and foreigners take over their governments and ethnically cleanse us for good. And again, that's not my opinion. This is what the UN says, according to international law. That it is actually classed as genocide. It's illegal under international law to have mass non-white immigration into Australia. And even the Australian Constitution itself says the Australian Parliament doesn't have powers to create such laws. It does have powers to create laws to restrict immigration to only whites into Australia, but it can't create laws which allow non-whites to mass immigrate into Australia. So it's unconstitutional, it's illegal. The Australian government doesn't actually have the powers to create such laws to allow mass non-white immigration, and it's actually a crime under international law to enforce or promote mass non-white immigration into white nations like Australia. And that is why I was arrested, because I just made it apparent. I just pointed out, hey, this isn't legal. All this non-white immigration, it's not legal. It's not legal according to the Constitution, and it's not legal according to international law. And for just pointing out this crime, again, it's actually classified as crime against humanity, genocide, under international law. So just pointing out this crime against humanity, I was arrested and sentenced as guilty for being an evil white man.